Imagine, it's 1945, but this time history has taken a different turn. The Allied forces have been defeated. The swastika flag flies over London. The Gestapo patrols the streets of New York. The world, as we knew it, no longer exists. But how did we get here? In reality, the Nazis were defeated in 1945. But what if history had taken a different course? In this video, we step into a nightmare where the Nazis won. What if the Nazis had won in Stalingrad? What if Britain had surrendered? What if the US had never entered the war? How would today's world map look? With the fall of the Soviet Union, the Nazis would have taken control of vast parts of Europe. Meanwhile, Japan would have expanded its empire in Asia. But this was only the beginning. In this new world, how would life be? For starters, individual freedoms would be almost non-existent. Everything would be under the control of the Nazi regime. Media, pure Nazi propaganda, schools, training grounds for the next generation of Nazis. Books that did not align with Nazi ideology, banned. But this was just the beginning. For those who did not fit the Nazi ideology, Jews, Slavs, political opponents, their fate was even darker. But scientifically, what would have happened? The Nazis had already made progress in rocket technology. Maybe the space race would have been led not by the US and the Soviet Union, but by Germany and Japan. But at what cost? The freedom of scientists and unbiased research would have been sacrificed to ideology. Perhaps the internet, as we know it, would not exist. Maybe news and information would be under absolute control. Maybe the digital world would never have been born. But no empire lasts forever. History has shown that people, sooner or later, rise against oppression. Would a global uprising have occurred against the Nazi Empire? Would the US and the Soviet Union have survived and one day tried to reclaim the world? Perhaps a Cold War would have emerged between Germany and Japan. Maybe internal uprisings would have begun in Europe. But could victory against this empire have been possible? But this was just a hypothetical scenario. The reality is that the Nazis were defeated, and our world took a different path. But this history teaches us an important lesson: freedom, democracy, and human rights are not things that are always guaranteed. We live in a world shaped by the choices and struggles of humanity. And perhaps it is those choices that will shape the future. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to follow us and leave your thoughts in the comments. What other changes do you think would have happened if the Nazis had won?